Peace and welcome everybody back to the channel. We're going to go over this weekend's fight night results. We're going to go over the war report and the shadow box final. See what else I have for you. Let's get the party started with Chanel Dyer versus Elise Reed. Now on this one, we had Chanel Dyer to get a KO. The Elise Reed has been chinned 3 times previously, and Chanel Dyer was on a knockout run. If you watch these fights, you heard what she said after the fight. Chanel Dyer wants knockouts. Chanel Dyer is sick of jiu-jitsu. Chanel Dyer comments aside, I love jiu-jitsu, but I understand what she was saying about the knockouts. The people want knockouts. The fans there at these events want knockouts. They want finishes. They like jiu-jitsu. Some of these fans are educated, all right? They want jiu-jitsu. They want knockouts, and she gave it to them. Fantastic fight. She beat Elise Reed up. I will say this. Elise Reed, and I commented this during the fights, Elise Reed is a straight soldier. You know, she got beat up in the corner. Her coach asked her, "What do you have left?" She said, "I got nothing." He said, "What do you want me to do? Do you want me to call it?" She said, "No." He's like, "Well, I need something, you know." She's like, "I got nothing." He's like, "All right, well, I'm going to call it." She's like, "You know, why don't you go back out there?" She's like, "I'm not going to quit." Got off the stool and went back in there. She knew it was going to happen, and she stood in for it, man. She tried her best. Elise Reed is a straight soldier, straight respect. I feel like her UFC run might be coming to an end. Next up, Jackson McVeigh versus West Party Time Schultz. The odds on this one were way closer than I thought they should have been. Now, West Schultz does have a submission victory. He does bring it in the UFC, but from the beginning of this fight, exactly what we thought would happen, happened. Jackson McVeigh controlled the distance. He peppered dude with shots. He ended up getting him with a knee to the body that dropped dude. It reminded me of when Rainier DeRitter first got on the scene and fought Bo Nickel. The whole fight crew was upset. And that's what that Jackson McVeigh knee reminded me of. The West Schultz, man. He folded him up, dropped him. We had Jackson McVeigh to win by KO. He gets it done with the ground and pound after the knee to the body. The next up, this one we stayed off of because I did not like it. If you review this tape, Stanley Dorsainvil looked excellent, man. The kid had heart. He had speed. He wants to get in here. He wants to do this. I'm watching the tape and I'm looking at Gage Young. Like, okay, Gage Young is nasty. Gage Young knows how to fight. In this one, we picked Gage Young, was our lean. He was our final pick, but we did not make a play in this one. And you've seen exactly why Stanley Dorsainvil came out and impressed. He got stronger as these rounds went on. Now, he got pieced up by Gage Young a couple times. In that first round, Gage Young definitely won the first round. He was faster than him. You know what I mean? He was on him. And it looked like Stanley Dorsainvil had no answers. But he went back to the corner, figured it out. Now, if you watch this one, if you listen to what Stanley Dorsainvil said in his corner, he said, "What is he hitting me with?" Listen, I love these fights. I love the action. This is the soap opera your grandmother wants to watch. Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless. This is our soap opera right here. If you don't love this, why are you even here, man? This was a fantastic night. Stanley Dorsainvil is pushing Gage Young after the fights. The announcers are loving it. I'm loving it. Bear's hating. Everybody's going crazy. Man, it was a beautiful fight night. I love these fight nights. That's why when people hate and say this card is a mid and this and that, I pay them no attention. These cards are lit. And one thing that I wanted to say I was going to talk about on the Midnight Shadow, when I could get back to the Midnight Shadow, is that ever since the UFC switched the way that they ranked these people, ranked these fighters, you know, it was June 22nd. The UFC switched their rankings. They went to a metadata ranking system. You know, they hooked up with Meta, all kind of deals. Great. Ever since that point, what we are having is a more tournament style. The matchups that they're making are like elimination matchups. The UFC used to be based on names, and it's partly our fault. Hardcore fans, you want your names. You want to see this name versus that name. You know, you got guys picking guys to win fights because Cub Swanson's their coach. How we need to move further is in this way. And I tell you, it's the way that they're doing these matchups now. These matchups are like elimination matchups, all right? They're picking guys, styles against styles. They're picking guys rank against rank. You'll see this in the next card we got coming up. You see guys who are ranked number 34 versus guys who are ranked number 35. We're having elimination matchups. We're having tournament style matchmaking, and that is making everything better. Before we got who the fans wanted to see. Now we're getting who we need to see. Let everybody bitch about it. They will come around once they realize what they are missing. Everybody's sleeping. They just don't know better. Here at the North Coast, we do. We move on. Marcio Barbosa versus Ryan Coos. Getting ready for these guys. Ryan Coos looked good on the regional scene. Sloppy. He reminded me a lot of a guy that we had the week before who absolutely just was terrible. I don't even remember the guy's name at this point, but I don't want to get off of this. Marcio Barbosa, we had him to get the knockout. He did. There's an amazing story out there about Mauricio Barbosa's weight cut and re-weight gain after the weigh-ins. But we're not going to get into that right now. I will talk about it a little bit at the end of this video. We're going to move on. We had Barbosa by KO. We hit on that one. We had Gage Young. I'm sorry. You I get when I ramble on. We had Gage Young to win by KO. We had a finish predicted in all 13 of these fights. So Mauricio Barbosa we had for the KO, and he got that KO. So Nasrat Haqparast, it was his birthday today on this fight day. He entered the fight at 10-5. Now these odds started out with Haqparast as the favorite. By the time that we got closer to fight, it had widened and then it got shorter. By the time that we got close to the fight, Haqparast was like minus 115. Chris Taco Padilla was minus 102. Now on this, I loved Taco Padilla from the very beginning. We broke this down and we told you that he was going to control the center. Win or lose, he was going to control the center of the ring. He was going to move with that way that he moves in, you know what I mean? He was going to kick that leg and he was going to, try to get rid of some of Haqparast's mobility and win the fight. Technically, the guy's a master in there. Has not lost in the UFC. 4-0-1 he comes into this. And that one was questionable. You know what I mean? And while we're talking about that fight was against Marquel Medeiros, who's on this card. Now, I think the world of Taco Padilla. Marco Medeiros, that 4-0-1 for Padilla, that 0-1 is Marco Medeiros. And I know he disputed that with the sanction. I think that it did not get overturned. I'm pretty sure it did not get overturned. He still got the 0-1 there, but that speaks worlds of Marco Medeiros' ability to me. Anyhow, we were on Chris Padilla to get the knockout here. Standing triangle. Picked him up, slammed him on the ground in a triangle choke, and it choked him out. When the time went off, and Chris Padilla got up off of Haqparast. Haqparast was twitching with his eyes closed, all right? He put him to sleep, and the referee didn't even know it. So they went back, and they called it submission. Chris Padilla wins the fight. He choked him out, man. 4 minutes, 59 seconds in the third round. Next up, this one, I'm going to tell you right now, was a terrible read. I don't care that Kennedy and Chizikua came out and fought in a way that we completely did not expect him to fight. Okay? I don't care that something was off here. It was still a bad read. Our bad. Terrible. Yeah, this was our play. All right? This is our play. We had Kennedy and Chizikua to win this. Moderate confidence against Shamil Gaziev coming into this 3-3. Shamil Gaziev had trouble with strikers. Kennedy and Chizikua is a wrestler. but he's very good on the feet. It was not enough. Listen, he came into this fight. He kept his hands at his waist. Shamil Gaziev striking, and he's barely trying to move. He fought like you would fight, I don't know, somebody that you think, like, that you could beat up, like some kid that you think you can hold their head way far away, you know what I mean, and just do that to them. That's how he fought this fight. And I was baffled watching what was going on here. I'm like, do you guys see this? Like, what is going on? Why is he fighting like that? And then Shamil Gaziev throws one right down the pipe, and Kennedy Nzechukwu tries this weak, like, he closed his eyes and just tried to, like, turn his head, man. It hit him all in the neck and the jaw, dropped him right out. He got sent to the Shadow Realm. He came here and visited. I bitched at him. You better believe it. What in the hell are you doing? He cost us. When you see the Shadow Box final and the final number totals, it was on this one right here. And I got a little bit about, choosing this one, too, that I am not happy with. This was not my first choice. But we scored it. We claimed it. We eat it. Terrible read on our part. On this one, this is another L here. On that one, we had Kennedy Nzechukwu to win by knockout. Shamil Gaziev wins by knockout, first round. Le'Veon Douglas versus Jamal Emmers. This is another one. We go through the process. We went through the whole entire process, and we had Le'Veon Douglas slightly ahead, moderate to high confidence. I like Jamal Emmers' movement. I like Jamal Emmers' hand speed, his accuracy. You know what I mean? Le'Veon Douglas was going to come in with the power. He's coming in with the reputation. He's coming in with the big odds. But this fight scared the death out of me. But through the process and everything that happens, we chose Le'Veon Douglas. Now, here's the catch in this fight. Now, this goes down as knockout. And you see Jamal Emmers tag Le'Veon Douglas right in the face. Le'Veon Douglas grabs his face, goes straight down. After the fight, and I thought something looked weird about it. It wasn't like a knockout. And not weird like, funny money kind of stuff. Nothing like that. The way he went down, I thought, I don't want to say anything too disgusting on here, but I thought something bad happened to his eyeball itself. You know what I mean? Squishy time, Thank God it wasn't anything like that. But it was almost as bad. He fractured his orbital socket, okay? And he lost vision right away. So he drops to the ground, covering his eye, telling the referee, like, hey, that's it, in Brazilian. But he's saying, I can't go, He's covering his face. He lost his vision right away. He couldn't see. So it was a perfect shot, perfect accuracy on the shot. 4-ounce gloves, got right in there on the eye. Boxing gloves, that would not have happened because of the weight, the thickness, the build. These 4-ouncers, man, broke his eye, shut him down. Before Le'Veon Douglas's first fight, when we first broke him down, when he got into the UFC, I said, I don't know about this guy, man. He feels like a fraud check waiting to happen. I want to tell you that this was not that fraud check. This was a perfectly landed punch. I believe if this punch lands anywhere else, Le'Veon Douglas can continue the fight. And it was, at this point, Jamal Emmers was leading the dance. He was on the back foot. He was leading the dance, but he was on the back foot. Le'Veon Douglas was advancing. It was only a matter of time before Le'Veon Douglas started getting them body shots in there. And we would have seen how the fight actually went down. But exactly what I said last week, when Joel Alvarez lost his mobility from the leg kicks. People were acting like he fell off a bus. It was why he couldn't move. He got kicked in the leg. That was part of guy's game plan. He won the fight. That's a good game plan. In the same way, Jamal Emmers, Le'Veon Douglas didn't fall off a ladder and hurt his eye. He got punched in the eye. Jamal Emmers, excellent job. It was an injury. I wouldn't compare it to the Josh Van Pantoja situation, that kind of injury. That was more of like a freak injury. Even so, who has the belt? Exactly. Anthony Wint and Terrence Chapman, our next step. Terrence Chapman said all the right things. He did have a weight advantage coming into this fight. we knew it was going to happen. I guess minus 1,600 odds or whatever it finally ended up getting to were not enough. Anthony Wint with knockout. If you would have went Anthony Wint first round knockout, you could have scraped something out of it. We had it in a couple different ways, but Anthony Wint was the play. We all knew it, and it came to fruition. Not much to see there. Terrence Chapman stepped into it, very courageous. We'll see what he has against maybe a different opponent. Anthony Wint is something else entirely. I'm excited to see where this kid's career goes. On our next up, there's another kid on here whose career I am fascinated to see where it goes, and that is Carly Giudice. She fought Gisela Chavez. Started out around minus 500, went wide immediately. Carly Giudice is a beast. Now, I believe this line would have been even wider, except Juliana Killer Miller had such a reputation. She just wasn't a good fighter when she came in, okay? Can I say that? Juliana Miller was not a good fighter when she came onto the scene. She's not the fighter she is now. I picked her in her last fight. I'm constantly harping on her improvement. Juliana Killer Miller has impressed me. She is making Carly Giudice's win, which at the time, I was not happy with. I think I might have had, I don't know if I had her to win by, I don't know what was going on, but Carly Giudice fought that fight and it ended up being a unanimous decision. Carly Giudice win, but Juliana Miller took a round from her in that fight, and I was like, what in the world is going on? I think I'm expecting her to beat the sauce out of Miller, and it just did not happen. And like I said, the more and more Miller fights, the more and more we see her improve. That adds more to Carly Giudice. So in my mind, I'm taking away from Carly Giudice because she didn't dominate that fight. And Gisela Chavez, she looked excellent in her first fight. So what's going on here? We picked Giudice. We picked Giudice by a heavy margin. She came out and dominated. She folded up Gisela Chavez with a shot to the body. She looks great. Carly Giudice looks great. Marquel Medeiros versus Mason Jones. This is one of the ones. Now we were on Mason Jones. Again, we went through the process, but I did not like it at all. Like I said, Marquel Medeiros took one of my favorite fighters and a guy we picked again as an underdog on this card. Took him all the way to majority decision. I didn't agree with that. I thought Taco Padilla won that fight, but the judges are who matter, not me. They said majority decision. The books didn't give our money back, okay? So, I guess we didn't win. Marquel Medeiros versus Mason Jones. Marquel Medeiros, absolutely, fantastic fighter. These guys both had their moments going back and forth. Mason Jones gets stopped for the first time in his career. We had a high confidence grade on this, despite my, backing of Medeiros. I say every week, hey, watch out for this guy. He's dangerous. Watch out for this guy. He's dangerous. And they get knocked out all the time. So we were going to flip our whole system around because I thought Marquel Medeiros was dangerous. But in this one, he proved to be solid. We'll take the L on that. We were on Mason Jones to win by KO. The next fight, Roman Dolidze, Rainier de Ritter returns to the scene. Both of these gentlemen move up to light heavyweight 205. Who could carry the weight better? Could Roman Dolidze turn this into a strength contest? You remember in the WWE and Hulk Hogan and somebody would clasp hands with each other and then pushing it back and they just push it. Could Roman Dolidze turn this into that kind of strength contest at 205 with Rainier de Ritter? No, he could not. He could not do it at all. Rainier de Ritter gets it done. At the odds, that was not a huge surprise there. We were on de Ritter to win by submission in this one, actually. And I think he gets it done by KO here. Vitor Petrino, the before spoken of Sergey Spivak, We did not think this one was going the distance whatsoever. And of course, this one goes the distance. But it went the way we thought it would. You know, Sergey Spivak. We thought Vitor Petrino wanted to keep this one on the feet, and he did mostly, and that's where he won the fight. But in this fight, if you forgot, Vitor Petrino had jiu-jitsu. You know, Vitor Petrino was shooting. Vitor Petrino was going for takedowns. He thought he could win this fight anywhere, and he almost messed himself up, acted a damn fool. But he gets the win. He gets the unanimous decision. We move on to the next fight, to the main event. Anthony Hernandez, Gregory Rodriguez. We had Anthony Hernandez to win by sub. No action on this fight. Dangerous fight. Dangerous fight. Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop, is one of my favorite fighters out here. And Fluffy just let us down. You know, against the power puncher, against the guy who wants to stand in there and counter punch, against a fighter he was favored to win against. So again, we get Fluffy, minus 170. And he's putting that pressure wrestling, you know, putting that pace on Gregory Rodriguez. Rodriguez hurt him a couple times. Gregory Rodriguez gets the fight done. Unanimous decision. This is another one we did not think would be going the distance. It goes the distance. So there you have it on the day. We go 8-5. We could have did a little bit better. In the end, 63% is not terrible. We don't hate it, especially with such volatility on the card. All right, in this quick jab section for you, let me just slow it up here a bit and give you a couple fascinating things from Sacramento. First of all, we talked about it. Chris Padilla tied for the second latest submission in UFC history. Round 3, 4 minutes and 59 seconds in, he gets the submission. Standing triangle, slam to the ground, choke out. Unbelievable. Taco Padilla is fantastic. He's through his sixth fight, 5-0-1, undefeated in the UFC. His 0-1, we're going to have to see a rematch here. Marquel Medeiros hands Mason Jones his first professional stoppage loss. He moves to 4-0-1. Marquel Medeiros is better than you think he is. I said that this week without jinxing him. Another man who I told you was going to be better than you think he is. That man is Stan Dorsainvil. He won his UFC debut, improved to 6-0 career as a professional fighter. Fantastic fight. Stan Dorsainvil over Gage Young. He gets the win. In an 11-day turnaround, we see Anthony Wint win on Contender Series, come in, get a second win in the UFC. 11 days apart, 2 pro wins in 11 days for Anthony Wint. Congratulations, young man. He got himself some money. You will see again coming up here. 10 finishes in 13 fights before the card on the Shadow Box final. I wondered aloud before the fights went down, could we possibly have a card that went 13 for 13 with finishes? No, we did not. 10 out of 13 ain't bad though. 77% finish rate. The crowd had to be loving it, and I believe that they were. The last one I would like to talk about is Mauricio Barbosa. He entered this fight at 171 pounds. Yes, 25.5 pound rehydration over the night between the weigh-ins and the fight. He came into this fight 17.8 pounds heavier than his opponent. That is a crazy number. This dude ballooned up, okay? And he looked it during the fight. He got the knockout. He got it done. Those are your quick jabs. On this next part here, we're going to go. Let's take it to the bonuses, right? Let's take it to the bonuses. Sacramento fight night. The bonuses go down like this. Gregory Rodriguez versus Anthony Hernandez. Fight of the night. 100,000 apiece to each gentleman. Congratulations. Performance of the night. We've got 2 winners. Marquel Medeiros, and Carly Judice. Congratulations, your lives are changed. Finish bonuses: Jamal Emmer, Chanel Dyer, Jackson McVeigh, Marcio de Barbosa, Chris Padilla, Anthony Wint, Rainier DeRitter. Get the finishes, they get it done. And we have got to move on to the Shadow Box Final. All right. Okay, on our Shadow Box Final, we came in with 5 plays on this one. Our first play, as always, our premium play, 100 down. Kennedy Nzechukwu. He was an underdog on this one, all right? We had got him at plus 114. And he takes the loss to Shamil Gaziv. That one goes down with a bang. That was a terrible call. I apologize for that one. We risked 3.5 units this week. On our next play, the Castle Parlay, we had Anthony Wint to win by KO or submission. He gets the submission. Marcio Barbosa, KO. He gets the KO. Carly Judice on the money line. Rainier DeRitter on the money line. All that together is plus 100. Very likely to happen, in my opinion. It hits 0.75 units we put on that. Very good call. Our house special: Chanel Dyer, Mason Jones, Le'Veon Douglas. Okay? Le'Veon Douglas does not get the win. The house special goes down. We move on to the very first of our straight plays. Oh, I guess, no, I'm sorry, not the very first of our straight plays, because we had Kennedy Nzechukwu. Chris Taco Padilla, minus 102 on FD. Half a unit in. He gets it done. Now, rounding out the last of our plays, we had a 3-leg parlay. Jackson McVeigh, Vitor Petrino, Anthony Wint, all 3 on the money line. We put a quarter of a unit on this. This was plus 172. We hit on that as well. Get it done. We should have put more on that one. And I told you on the Shadow Box Final, do not be surprised if we come back in with Chanel Dyer knockout. We love that play. And absolutely told you why it was going to happen. And then we didn't bring it to you guys and put it in because we just did not get the time to add it publicly to the bet sheet. I do have one guy who follows me on YouTube who told me he heard me talking about Chanel Dyer, the KO, and that he hammered it and then he got paid just because of the lien on it. So, you know, it was there. It could have been taken. It was taken by a couple people. That is the Shadow Box Final, y'all. On my Shadows Ego Challenge, we did not have many entries this week. The Librarian, the Gusto, my main man. Of course, he got his in. He did not hit. We lost on the same person. My Shadows Ego Challenge does not hit as well. We go down. Le'Veon Douglas is the culprit, of course. The money snatcher, the parlay breaker of the week. That is it for the recap session. In the recap sessions, we always talk about, you know, what did we learn? And last week, what I said that I learned is that I should trust myself more. You know, I got the eye for this. I see them. We break them down. We put in the work. And I just got to trust what I like more. And I think this card proves that we are still learning those lessons. So that cost us, and you'll see there we finished just under the mark that we set for our success, and that's finishing in the green plus money. Just under that, even though we went 3-2 on the bets. So that's it. That's the recap session. Still trying to learn the same old lessons once again. Thank you for joining me. This has been a North Coast Media production. I am Shadowbox, man. Get at me. All the real ones know what to do, man. I love this. I ain't going nowhere. Peace.